Hello, excuse me, hello. We are just going to give a minute or two here for Ms. Barnes to join us.
Just didn't need to shut up.
Ms. Gherkin,
Sorry.
just so you know, I'm on the phone, Ms. Barnes. She's waiting to be let in by the host, so we're working on it.
Okay, all right. I wondered if it was technical in nature. I wonder if she's on the right link.
I don't see her waiting as to being let in, so
Right. She might not have the link, the panelist link. Maybe we can get resent.
we just resent the link to her.
Okay, we'll give her a minute. Hello. Okay, so we're going to call the regular board meeting of Wednesday, May 26th.
Can you hear me?
Of Wednesday, May 26, 2021 to order. I just want to say that if you'll indulge me and allow me to pinch hit for our president, Mrs. Varwig, this afternoon. She is attending what is the imminent delivery of her third grandchild as we speak. So she may pop on as appropriate for her and her family as the meeting proceeds. But we're going to go ahead and get started. Mr. Steckschulte, please call the roll.
Mrs. Gherkin,
Here.
Miss Barnes,
Here.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Here.
Mr. Vasquez.
Here.
Thank you. I believe you have a video for us for the pledge. Could you let us know who that is about to treat us, Mr. Steckschulte?
Dr. Durant, can you help me out on that one right now?
Yes. So we do have a video in regards to our Pledge of Allegiance, going to be our first grade students from the Virtual Academy. So we appreciate Miss Yolanda Johnson, who is the principal, for organizing them with the teacher. And with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Steckschulte to play the pledge.
Thank you.
Are you seeing the screen? Here we go.
Yes. Yes.
Good morning, everybody. We are Miss Anderson's first graders in the Virtual Academy. We would like to say the Pledge of Allegiance for you. Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Awesome job. Give me a thumbs up. Nice job. All right. Now.
Thank you. That really does tell us a little bit about what it's like to have a virtual classroom, doesn't it? Thank you to those first graders. Dr. Durant, the mission and vision, please.
Yes, ma'am. Toledo Public Schools' mission is to produce competitive college and career-ready graduates through a rigorous curriculum across all grade levels by implementing Ohio New Learning Standard with fidelity. Our vision statement to strive to be an A-rated school district whose graduates are college and career-ready. Thank you.
Thank you. And I guess, Dr. Durant, you can
Yep.
continue with our presentations.
Yeah, so presentation of ceremony awards. We're going to turn this over to Mrs. Mazer. Ms. Mazer.
Thanks, Dr. D. Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce Ms. Ruth Posta. Ruth is the valedictorian from the Aerospace and Natural Science Academy of Toledo for the class of 2021. So she is officially a TPS proud graduate. Ruth has a great story to tell, one that is a shining example of the opportunities that TPS has to offer its students. She is college bound in the fall, and her choice of school and her major is as unique as the story that she has followed, the path she has followed to get to this point in her life and in her educational career. I was able to watch Ruth deliver her speech at graduation, and I was even more impressed with this young lady. So Ruth, welcome. And if you could share about your CCP classes and what the future holds for you.
Of course. Well, thank you for that introduction. As she said, my name is Ruth Posta. I grew up in Toledo over in the Scott district. I moved overseas to Asia from grades 6 to 9, and I came back to Toledo specifically to go to ANSAT in the animal science program because I knew that I wanted to work with animals. When I came back, I thought I was going to be a vet. It's not turned out that way. I'm actually majoring in marine environmental science with a focus in aquarium husbandry, and I'll be going to Alaska Pacific University in Anchorage in the fall, which is really exciting for me. As in terms of CCP classes, I've been doing the College Credit Plus through UT since I was in 10th grade, and I finished with just 50 credit hours through the 3 years that I've been at ANSAT, which is really exciting because I will be graduating a year early from Anchorage. So I only have to take 6 semesters while I'm there. I've gotten all of my core classes out of the way. I have a physical geology that I needed to get done for my freshman year technically, and then I'll be a sophomore second semester. And it's just, ANSAT has prepared me so well because I've been working hands-on with animals for the last 3 years. You know, I thought I wanted to be a vet, and then I went to the school and I was like, well, that's not for me. You know, I don't want to see the animal once every 6 months. I want to work with them every day. I want to build that relationship. And going to ANSAT made me realize that that was what I wanted to do. And it's a wonderful school, and all of the teachers and everyone who works there, they want to help you do whatever you want to do. And it's really a wonderful place.
Thank you.
Ruth, that is so awesome. Thank you so much for taking time as a graduate to share your story. I hope you will keep in touch and send us pictures from Alaska.
I definitely will.
I'm so excited for you, and I think you will make a great TPS alumni highlight, and I would love to be able to follow you as you continue with school, and we wish you nothing but the best of luck. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Well, thank you. I do have to head out, though. I'm having dinner with my grandparents tonight.
Yay!
Thank you for inviting me.
You bet. Thank you for your time, and tell your grandparents we said hello, and that we are very proud of you.
I will.
Thank you. I love that so much. And then Ruth was also focused a story on Channel 13 several weeks ago, talking about her work at ANSAT and the CCP program. That is certainly a young lady that took advantage of things. So on to the retirees for this month. We have just a few. Mr. Rodney Crosby. He is the working site facilitator, or Working Facility Site Coordinator at JLab. He is retiring with 25 years and 9 months of service to TPS. Ms. Deborah A. Essing, a 4th grade teacher at Sherman. She is retiring with 27 years of service. Susan Hemmert, a paraprofessional at Glenwood, retiring with 29 years of service. Debbie Lashaway, paraprofessional at Waite with 28 years of service. Ms. Jean Myers is retiring as also a paraprofessional from Waite with 33 years of service. And Ms. Teresa Neely, a truck driver and storekeeper over at Pearson Center. She is retiring with 31 years and 1 month of service for a total of 174 years of service to Toledo Public Schools. We thank them and wish them nothing but the best in retirement.
Thank you for that. It is always great when we hear that total number that you give after the list of retirees. It's astounding. We have such long committed employees. Congratulations. I think that brings us to section 3, community comments. And the last I heard, we do not have community members in line for speaking with us tonight. And then we're going to go to section 4, organizational input. I don't believe I see any representation from Parent Congress, but I do see Mr. Ramirez from TAP.
Thank you. And I know Ruth had to step off, but I'd like to tell her that my sister lives in Anchorage, Alaska, and I'll have to get in touch with her and they can visit each other. She's also a Waite grad, a TPS grad, proud grad. So we'll have to put those two together. What I want to say is, I think I remember speaking at the November board meeting and thinking about, I think I made the comment that it felt like we were in May. And here we are in real May, and I'm very happy to get through this year. There has been a lot of changes over the last 18 months for the reason, as you know, and I don't even want to say the name of that pandemic, but we've gotten through. I'd like to give a shout out to the principals, assistant principals, counselors, administrators at the school building that have covered classes, that have adjusted, changed a protocol, that have done everything to make sure we had in-person learning and did right by our students. So I do want to thank them for that struggle. We are at nearing the end, or at the end of schools, but I am appreciative of our people, our administrators and teachers that stepped up and made it the best we can with our education here at TPS. So thank you all. Have a good evening.
Thank you. I don't believe I see representation from the TFT on the call or AFSCME tonight.
Correct. That is correct.
Okay. Then we have gotten to section 5, comments by the board.
I guess I'll go first. Is that okay? Because I don't see anybody hands going up. I just want to take this moment to have a moment of silence in the light of all this gun violence that is really plaguing our city, and especially our youth. So if that's okay, Vice President, that we can do that.
Of course, thank you.
Mhm. Thank you for that. On a higher note, I want to say I am really excited that I saw some things at Jones and Rogers and I'm trying to remember all the schools I went to, that in the bathroom they are, giving access and inclusion thanks to the nurse. Can you hear me well? I got a feedback here. Is that okay? Okay. Thanks to the nurses and the counselors, they are actually having sanitary feminine hygiene or personal hygiene in the bathrooms. And I'm really excited about that because we're working towards access and inclusion for all. So I'm so happy to see this. So thank you to the nurses staff and the counselor staff for providing those things. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Amber?
just wanted to take a moment. We're almost to the end. My house has one more final tomorrow morning and a project due tonight, tomorrow morning, technically. I hope it's done tonight. It has been a long slog this year, and I think that's the case for everybody. Some of it has, we've in the last month gotten to see some events that, make us feel like we're a little back to normal. I enjoyed the 2 graduations that I was able to attend to represent the board on Monday. Those fill our hearts and remind us of why we do this. But I know that there's a lot of people still working very hard to wrap up the year. And I want to thank the staff in advance who have worked hard to create the summer school opportunity for our students who really need that opportunity. A lot of times I comment on things sort of outside of the district and what's going on in education, but I think for now, I just really want to focus on the great work that we've done. It's not been without bumps along the way, but I think that's true for everybody in this past year. And we have risen to a lot of challenges, perhaps sometimes imperfectly, but really just the fact that, so many of our students are going to make it through the end of the year. And if they had trouble, they're going to get to go to summer school, or if they just need that little lift up to be more successful next year. I'm just very excited that we've made it to this point, and I think we'll continue to tackle this crazy time and get as close as we can back to our normal selves for next year. So thank you everybody for making that happen.
I'd like to make some comments, and I just want to say thank you to all of our staff. It's been a tough year. So I want to thank them for everything that they've done. And I also want to thank them for providing additional opportunities throughout the summer. And our students, I want to congratulate them. I will be doing one of the graduations yet next week, but I want to congratulate all of them and their accomplishments and going through this tough year with all of us. So thank you.
Thank you. I would just like to echo the congratulations for graduations that are coming along. I will be able to attend 2 next week. And interestingly, I was looking at my comments from last year about the struggles and the things that, all the uncertainty that we had at this time last year. And unfortunately, really, I just added all of that and then some, right? Because on top of that, we had this year of unrest and upheaval in our systems all across this nation. And so our students that last year and this year are, they're coming out at a time where, wow, we just, we really need to have their backs over the next few years as they, adjust to whatever this new normal is after 2 years of trauma. I too am very grateful for all the summer experiences that we've lined up, but then caution for that is that means even less of a break for staff and students who really need nothing more than a break. But I love the idea that we're going to be in their lives over the summer. I'm concerned about teachers not getting much of a break because we are using so many teachers this summer to pull that off. So I would redouble my request. That seems to be a continuous mantra to our administration to make sure that we are on top of providing as much self-care and monitoring of the well-being of all of our team members across the district, including everything we're doing to support students. So I'm a little worried about the lack of a break, but I'm certainly grateful that we get to extend the school year. So thank you for pulling all of that off. To our staff and to our administration, you guys have really accomplished a lot this year. I think that would bring us to the consent agenda, right?
Correct.
Just read through the sections of the consent agenda. They are items 601 through 626. Board members may request to pull an item from the consent and move it to the discussion section of the agenda if that is needed. So 601 to 605 is the Human Resources, Staff Development and Training Committee agenda items. That is chaired by me, Holly Taylor Gherkin, and co-chaired by Stephanie Eichenberg. Items 6.06 to 6.13 are the Finance and Business Operations Committee items, chaired by Mr. Bob Vasquez and co-chaired by Mrs. Chris Barwig. Item 6.14, Technology Improvement and Process Committee. We do not have any action items this month. That is chaired by Mrs. Eichenberg and co-chaired by me. Item 6.15 through 6.17 is the Board Curriculum Instruction and Academic Excellence Committee agenda items. That's chaired by me, Polly Taylor Gherkin, and co-chaired by Mrs. Chris Barwig. Items 6.18 and 6.19 are the Policy Committee agenda items that is chaired by Ms. Sheena Barnes and Mr. Bob Vasquez co-chairs it. Items 6.20 and 6.21 are the Arts, Athletics, and Student Activities Committee, chaired by Mrs. Stephanie Eichenberg and co-chaired by Mrs. Chris Barwig. Items 6.22 and 6.23 are the Family and Community Engagement Committee, chaired by Mr. Bob Vasquez and co-chaired by Ms. Gina Barnes. Items 6.24 to 6.26 are approval of our board meeting minutes. So I would request a motion to approve the consent agenda
So moved.
Second.
by Ms. Barnes and seconded by Mr. Vasquez. Seeing no discussion, treasurer, please call the roll.
Mrs. Gherkin,
Yes.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez.
Yes.
Thank you. I just would remind folks that that consent agenda accumulated after literally dozens of meetings throughout the month, at least 3, if not 4 committees per board member. So a lot of that work gets done throughout the month so that we can bring it together for the consent agenda for a more efficient board meeting. Lots of public meetings throughout the month for folks who are interested in seeing a lot more detail there. I think section 7 is just our reports and minutes from those committee meetings that I just mentioned. So you'll see the agendas and the minutes. No action is required. So we can proceed to section 8. And I believe we have a discussion item here. Item 8.01, if Mr. Treasurer would like to present his agenda item for us.
Can you see the PowerPoint up there?
Yes.
So May is the month that we update the forecasts from November. And the purpose of it is to basically, I'll say, true up what's actually happened and what we forecasted. And you'll see through this brief presentation that we kept the out years the same. We'll go over the changes, and then we will go over some of the factors that influence the forecast, which there are some that will be coming up that will have major impact. So on the revenue side, for this year, there's 3 areas where we exceeded revenues or generated revenue that we were not anticipating. The first being real estate taxes. Real estate taxes came in $3 million over what we anticipated. What happened was, historically, we have collected at 96%. This year we collected at 98%. For the future years, we are not projecting the 98. We're still keeping it at 96 because one year does not create a trend. So we're monitoring that. And if next year goes as well, then we'll start looking at changing our forecast for the real estate taxes. The other item in revenues is the state aid in the beginning of the year. So last year when the pandemic hit, the state reduced our state aid by $3.6 million. And they told us back at the beginning of this year that they were going to maintain that $3.6 million reduction for this year. However, with state revenues coming in greater than what they anticipated, they did not, roughly, I think it was February, they came back and said, no, we're no longer going to do the 3.6. We're only going to do 1.7. So that generated an additional $1.9 million for us. And then the third item that we did not anticipate was the workers' comp rebate that the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation provided, and that was $5.6 million. Other than those three items, our revenues came in consistent with what we anticipated. We did not change anything from the November forecast, as you can see in regards to the chart, in regards to our out years. So we still went back to the 96% for real estate, state aid. The way we're projecting that is we bring the whole $3.6 million back for next year, which, just so we're all on the same page, gets us back to what we actually got in 2019. So we're getting made whole back to 2019. And then we did historical increases for the future years. That's really the major changes with the revenues. Are there any questions on the revenue side? On the expenditure side, the changes that we've made on the expenditure side is
Dr. Schulte, are you trying to change slides? We still just see that first one, the comparison dashboard. I don't know if you had meant to change slides.
I did. So curious.
So sometimes once you share,
It was the expenditure. It was just like the same type of outlay. That's it.
Same. Is that what it is? It looked the same. I thought it was the same. You did it too fast. I didn't see it change. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yep. So now we're on expenditures in the upper left-hand corner. So on the expenditure side this year, they were coming in a little under budget, and there's some reasoning behind that. Is one, transportation costs are down this year, which is understandable. Overtime hours are less than what we anticipated. And then community schools, we have less community school students this year than we've had in the past. So that expense was not as what we expected either. And then utilities is also below, obviously, with the buildings not being used as much. So other than that, we came in pretty much right where we were anticipated. We're looking at roughly about a $3 million under budget for this year. For the out years, the only changes that we made in the out years is we've put in negotiated agreements if they've been passed and so forth, and then use historical figures past that for our salary and benefits. And then other than that, we held everything as it was in November. So are there any questions on the expenditure side?
Yeah, so you're saying that we held the transportation and all that just the way it is right now for the next couple of years just in case, or did we give ourselves some playroom? Because we know hopefully those things will go back to normal using the buses for our children to come in. So did we give ourselves some wiggle room?
Yeah, technically we gave us the wiggle room to bring it back to where it should have been this year.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yep. So overall, what happened then to the cash balance is that we were looking at a negative cash balance in November, but with the changes now we're looking at about a $500,000 positive cash balance. So we're looking good through 2024. What I really want to kind of hit on is the forecast variables and what really can affect this forecast, because this forecast will be updated probably, I'm hoping, by July 1st, if the state legislator can come to an agreement on the budget. So the state budget, as we all know, the House of Representatives approved or included in their budget the Patterson report or funding model. The Senate has not approved anything yet, but we're getting close to crunch time since they have to have that passed by the end of June. So we're expecting the Senate to pass their version of the budget in the very near future. And then they'll pull together a conference committee to reconcile the differences between the House and the Senate. We are hopeful that the Patterson funding formula does go through. I believe it is the right direction that we need to go through as a state. It will help us. It doesn't help us as much as it did originally, but things still may change. So we'll watch that. And when that comes, we'll change our forecast so that we know where state aid is. The second one is the tax collections. We're still holding it, as I said earlier, at 96% in the future years, because the for 1 year of increased collections, I don't believe is a trend that we want to start just yet. Interest rates. If interest rates start going back up, that could generate additional $2 million for us if we just get back to where we were pre-pandemic. Enrollment. Right now, we are 400 students less this year than we were last year. If we do not find those students or if they do not come back, that will affect what our funding will be. So we're looking into that right now. I know that I think it's about 220 some were in kindergarten. So our kindergarten enrollment was down from what they're showing us on the state reports that tie to our reports. ESSER 1, 2, and 3, that will have an effect on this forecast depending on how we spend the money, meaning we need to use it more towards one-time expenditures versus something that is going to accumulate over time. So we can't give out, go and enter into contracts, say 5-year contracts, when we only have 3 years of money. So we have to watch those things. So we'll see how that affects our overall forecast. I will tell you that it will be interesting because as this goes on, it seems to be that more and more people want to put restrictions on this money as we go. I mean, in the beginning, I think they just all at the federal level said, here, we have this money to help you get through the pandemic. And now they're realizing they want to put more restrictions on it because they're not getting what they thought they were getting in the beginning. The other thing that will have a huge impact on the forecast is if the enrollments continue to decline in the charter schools, and then whatever happens with the voucher program that's in the state. There's a lot of talk of changing that, so we have to watch that. And then the last item is negotiated agreements on salary and benefits with all the staff at TPS here. Depending on what happens in those, it will also affect the 5-year forecast. That was the last one. Are there any questions this evening?
I have a question about the enrollment projections. In the past, our decline in student enrollment was directly spotted in an increase in community school enrollment. So you're saying both of those have a play in your projections, but are you seeing that right now? Like when you say we just like lost 400 kids, are we necessarily also seeing, because we're down kids and they're down kids. So where are these kids?
That is the trick that is being used across not only Ohio, but across the country, is trying to find students during the pandemic to find out where they've relocated or if they're still in Toledo, to see why they weren't in school or where they're going to be going to school. The funding has not been affected this year because they froze us at our 2019 levels. So the decreased enrollment did not affect the funding this year, just the reduction.
It's really finding kids who we thought were going to be coming, but they didn't come, so we couldn't continue to count them for funding purposes.
Well, I'm not sure I understand your question.
So we lost 400 students. So these are students that were enrolled, but then they didn't really show up, and now we can't count them, or didn't get to count them because they didn't show up or stopped coming, or?
Well, there was no count this year.
So when you said we lost 400 students and most of them seem to be kindergarten.
Correct.
Lost them from where? Lost them from what?
Is that
enrolled?
Yeah, I was just going to say, is that a year over year? So if you compare last year to this year, so it could be impacted partly by population, but it's too big of an impact to be all population. So we might have some kids whose parents redshirted them basically because they didn't want them to start school during COVID. So we'll find out if we have a lot of kindergartners who show up in August that we weren't expecting.
Exactly where I was headed with that, because there's not mandatory that they attend school till they're 6. So if we have a rather large cohort of 6-year-olds coming to kindergarten for the first time, I think we need to get ready for that and find them sooner than later. So I imagine that that's kind of what's how we're working on getting. I mean, looking for them. How do we know where to look for them? I mean, if they were never enrolled.
That I'm not sure. I'll have to get with some of the other administration and we'll have to figure out a plan on that.
Yeah, and I think personally that as stuff started to come more open and people started getting vaccinated, we can start looking at events and start, doing what Dr. Durant do best, is really putting TPS on the platform. So I think that could help a lot as well too. So over the summer, I think we could start putting out ideas.
I mean, if they're, even half of those kids are students that were eligible to start kindergarten, that's what proportion of that is the typical incoming kindergarten class that's going to have to come to school now because they're 6, and how many extra kindergarten classrooms that we're going to have to be prepared to open. I mean, that's a big number, even if it's 200 of them. That's how many classrooms, right? That's 10 kindergarten classrooms.
Yep.
Okay, I'd like to hear a little bit more about that and about the plan for that contingency going forward. So I'm sure that's something that Dr. Allen and Mr. Galt's team can help with.
Okay. Yep. We'll get that to you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? I see none. So we just need to have a motion for this to be approved and then we can move on.
I need a motion to approve agenda item 8.1.
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved by Mr. Vasquez, seconded by Mrs. Eichenberg. Any more discussion? Seeing none, Treasurer, please call the roll.
Mrs. Gerken,
Yes.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez.
Yes.
Okay, so I think that section 9, we just don't have any walk-ins that I'm aware of. No walk-ins. Okay, section 10. These are early childhood education action items. That committee is chaired by me and co-chaired by Mrs. Barnes. I think we have 3 contracted amendments, and my understanding is they can be bundled. So if we could have a motion to approve agenda items 10.01, 10.02, and 10.03.
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, so any discussion or anything, Dr. Allen, that we need to know about those contracts?
I do not think so. They are run-of-the-mill contract amendments due to COLA and some of the COVID money or the CARES money.
Okay, all right. So I think we have, the motion has been moved and seconded, and there's no further discussion. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Gerken,
Yes.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Eichenberg.
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez.
Yes.
Okay, so section 11 of the agenda consists of early childhood education reports and minutes from this month's committee meetings and provided for your information and reference. No action is required. It is important to note that many of those reports are required to be distributed to the full board on a monthly basis by the Office of Head Start. So, having your opportunity to peruse them from time to time would give us, keep us in compliance for Head Start regulations. And I don't believe there are any ECE walk-ins, correct?
Correct.
Right. Well, that brings us to section 13, executive session. I'd like to request a motion to enter into executive session for the following: reviewing negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment, conferences with an attorney for the public body concerning disputes involving the public body that are the subject of pending or imminent court action. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Vasquez and Ms. Barnes. Seeing no discussion, treasurer, please call the roll.
Mrs. Gerken,
Yes.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. See everyone over there. Just need Mr. Steckschulte. We lost him.
Can we do an invite to him?
He's, I think Mrs. Gretchen is serving as host to, I'm gonna see if.
I
Mr.
just
Steck-
sent him, I just emailed him the invite directly from Zoom, so there he
Okay.
is.
All right.
Dr. D. Hang on.
We all here?
Yep, I want to make sure Mr. Steckschulte has a microphone. I don't see it yet. Oh, he left.
Stuck in a TV land.
Yeah, I think he has some TD's problems.
He was there for a second.
Like an attendee or something.
So they have him as an attendee. They do not have him as a panelist.
Yeah, somebody needs to promote him to panelist. That's because he came in on a generic link. Those panelist links are specific to your.
Yep. Yep.
And
Hey,
I'm trying to promote him right now and it won't allow me to promote him, so I'm gonna send him the link again.
You just want me to come up to your office, Dr. D?
you could come that, or Artisha said she was going to send you the link again.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And if not, you can find in your email. But Artisha just got on and said she was going to send it to you.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
The panelist links are specific to your email, so if you try to get on generically, you just get bumped into being an attendee.
Stack, what I'll do is wait, and if you need to come up, then so be it.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Bye.
Hostage, right?
But I thought, let me see. For some reason, I thought he was already attached to the, no. Okay, never mind.
There you go.
Very good.
It's connecting.
Yep. Okay. This audio. So I'm going to ask for a motion to reconvene from executive session.
So moved.
Seconded.
So that was Mr. Vasquez and Ms. Eichenberg. If there's no discussion, Treasurer, please call the roll.
Mrs. Gherkin,
Yes.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez.
Yes.
Thank you. We are ready for superintendent comments for section 14.
Yep. 5 down, 5 more to go. So we got 5 more graduations happening next Tuesday and Wednesday. Tomorrow is the last day of school for our elementary students. If you have a chance to get out, feel free. But summer school is starting right back up next week. And I also want to wish each and every one of you a Memorial Day holiday come Monday. And we'll be right back in the saddle for graduation speeches on Monday or Tuesday and Wednesday. So again, thank you, and TPS proud.
Thank you. Mr. Treasurer, comments?
Only comment I had is that basically it's going to become a wild ride now with the state budget. I'm expecting the Senate to pass theirs, and they'll be to go down and testify and see what we can get done. So that's all I have.
Hey, board member, comments?
I just want to thank Dr. Durant for the graduations. He's always out there giving so much energy, and I don't know if y'all go behind him, but it's a very hard job, and it makes you feel really humbled that you work with him. But keep up the great work. I don't know how you do it with your schedule. And congratulations to all the class of 2021. I mean, you are amazing and so awesome to meet some of y'all right now, you know, and to be in person again, right? So please, folks, remember to get vaccinated if it's your choice, and if not, wear your mask.
Thank you, everyone. I have no comments, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, Mr. Vasquez, Ms. Eichenberg. Seeing no discussion, Treasurer, please call the roll.
Mrs. Gherkin,
Yes.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez.
Yes.
All right, meeting adjourned.
See y'all tomorrow.
Everyone.
Bye.